Hi everybody, welcome back to musicmoose.org. I'm going to play one more tune for you and then get into talking about the banjo itself and the various parts of the banjo that you should know that I'll be referring to from time to time. But I thought I just ended up with a little tune here, just a fun tune. It's a tune that I learned off of a piece of sheet music that my girlfriend had for tenor banjo. She plays a little tenor banjo and had this at her house. So I'm going to play this for you, Julia. It's called the Jelly Bean Rag. A little bit of the Jelly Bean Rag. Alright, I think I'll take that off my shoulder and talk about my banjo a little bit and the parts of the banjo. This banjo is a banjo that I got from a guy named Tom Neckville, just a fine banjo builder out in Minnesota. And you can see all the kind of the fancy inlays and stuff on this banjo. If you happen to be interested in or looking for a banjo, you can always visit Tom at Neckville Musical Products, www.neckville.com. That's Nechville. Just an outstanding a banjo builder. And if you do go on to talk to Tom or anybody out there in Neckville, mention my name, won't you, David Cabbage? I sure would appreciate that. And so let's start with the parts of the banjo. I think I'll start with the back of the banjo, actually. Now this part in the back is the covering in the back. It's called the resonator. And we'll start right at the top of the banjo. This piece here, the top part, that's called the peg head. Now within the peg head, we have the tuners. You can see those there, the gold-plated tuners. And moving down now, you see this white strip here. That's called the nut. That's an important part of the banjo that I'm going to be referring to from time to time is the nut. And then down from the nut, just the whole piece, this whole piece of wood here, that whole thing is called the neck of the banjo. Now within the neck, we have what they call the frets. You can see them there. That being the first fret. And then that goes all the way down to the 22nd fret. Now in between the frets, that's called the fingerboard. That's where you're going to be placing your fingers when we start, right behind those frets. Now moving up to the 5th fret, and you see coming out the side of the neck, that's another tuner. That's the 5th string tuner. That's where 5-string banjo gets its name from. That's the 5th string tuner. Now moving on up to where the neck meets the, this is like my favorite part, it's like a drum, it's called the head. It's that white part. You can hear that. And then moving on up, we have what they call the bridge. And it's another important part that transfers the sound, the vibrations from the strings. You see that when you hit them strings, the vibrations from the strings goes down through the bridge, through that head, and that's what makes that nice sound. It's very important to have a really good bridge on your banjo to get the optimal sound out of it. And then moving down past the bridge, we have the tailpiece. And what that does is it just connects the strings from the back. Connect the strings to the back of the tailpiece right up, back up to the tuners. And this piece here is your armrest. That's where you're going to be resting your arm when we get started. Now there's various other parts inside the band, such as tone rings and stuff, which is a huge topic among banjo players, you know, to get the best sound. But I'm not going to talk too much about that right now. Maybe later on I'll just be discussing that a little bit. But for right now, I think that's about all the parts you're going to need to know, and the names of what I'm going to be talking about. So I think I'm going to leave it right there for this segment, and we'll get into tuning the banjo in the next one. So thanks for joining me again, everybody, and I'll see you next time right here on musicmoosh.org.